Well, welcome in everyone to this Massachusetts Family Action webinar to discuss this most egregious abortion bill that has been signed into law as of yesterday by the governor. We're going to still have quite a number of people still coming in. Want to let you guys know that this webinar is being recorded. My name is Michael King. I'm the president of Massachusetts Family Institute and also Massachusetts Family Action. As I mentioned, this webinar is being hosted today by Massachusetts Family Action, a C4 organization dedicated to social welfare to help the family, just like Massachusetts Family Institute, but also to help support like-minded people that want to run for office, especially pro-life people. As you guys know, the only way that we're truly going to make a difference, one of the only ways we're going to truly make a difference in Massachusetts is to replace the legislators. And so many of them, I think 119 representatives voted for this egregious bill. And so Sam Mealy is here, the director of Massachusetts Family Action, to talk more about that. And before Sam comes on, we are delighted to have Dr. Skop from the Charlotte Lozier Institute. And she is still a practicing doctor here to talk to us and really tell us about the truth beyond all these lies being shared on social media. So going to debunk a lot of the justifications people are giving on social media that we need this kind of egregious abortion law here in Massachusetts. So we're very excited to have Dr. Skop with us. And on that note, Dr. Skop, why don't you take it away? And then maybe 20 minutes in, guys, you can have some Q&A as well. So be prepared to ask some questions if you have any for Dr. Skop, and then we'll get into Sam Mealy there with the Massachusetts Family Action. So go ahead, Dr. Skop.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to be with you all. And this truly is a sad day for Massachusetts. Let me introduce myself. I've been a practicing board-certified obstetrician gynecologist in Texas for over 30 years, where I continue to care for women suffering obstetric emergencies. I'm also the director of medical affairs for the Charlotte Lozier Institute, where I perform peer-reviewed research on abortion and maternal mortality. I'm a board member of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, where I advocate for the best quality care for both of my patients, a woman and her unborn child. I'm also a member of the Texas Maternal Mortality and Morbidity Review Committee, where along with my peers, we seek to develop solutions to the devastating problem of maternal mortality. But today I'm not speaking on behalf of the committee. You should know there is no medical need for this law. The prior Massachusetts abortion law allowed no limitations on abortion before viability, that is, the gestational age where a baby can usually survive delivery if given quality medical care. The law defined viability at 24 weeks, even though some babies have survived birth as early as 21 weeks gestation. However, even if a baby was beyond the age of viability, a physician could still perform an abortion if, in his best medical judgment, the abortion was necessary to preserve the life of the mother or to preserve her physical or mental health, or because of a lethal fetal anomaly or diagnosis that was felt to be incompatible with sustained life outside the uterus without extraordinary medical interventions. The new law signed by Governor Healy yesterday is euphemistically named an act prioritizing patient access to care. This law removed all the prior limitations and allows an abortion to be performed by a physician based only upon his professional judgment, any reason, any gestational age, based upon the recommendation of the abortionist, who will make between $3,000 and $25,000 for the procedure. Additionally, the new law states no medical review process shall override the professional judgment of the treating physician and the will of the patient to provide an abortion. There will be no oversight of this process. The law eliminates the requirement that later abortion be provided in a hospital with quality metrics and available emergency equipment. Massachusetts has now joined 10 states that allow no upper gestational age limit on abortion. The US is one of only 8 countries in the world with no national prohibition allowing abortion until birth. We tend to think that Europe is more liberal than we are, yet most European countries limit elective abortion at 15 weeks. In her support of the bill, Senator Robin Kennedy spent almost 10 minutes advocating for reproductive care after 24 weeks. The only clinical example she gave where abortion might be necessary was preterm, pre-labor rupture of membranes, or PPROM, in which she stumbled over the medical terms, indicating her talking points were likely written by the pro-abortion American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists, or ACOG. Never in her discussion was a distinction made between PPROM before the baby had reached viability and after viability. Although sometimes delivery of the unborn child may be indicated due to the high risk of infection for the mother, and D&E abortion is sometimes chosen over labor induction as the method of delivery before viability, it is never necessary to directly kill the child through abortion after viability. The action needed to protect his mother's health is delivery, and quality care of the newborn child will often save his life also. Even ACOG, in their practice bulletin on PPROM, does not recommend this action after viability. In an interview justifying why she planned to sign this law, Governor Healy described a woman in her 33rd week of pregnancy whose unborn child suffered a catastrophic stroke, an extraordinarily rare complication. So the woman left the state in order to end her potentially disabled child's life. Again, there was no law preventing the child's delivery if it was necessary to protect his mother's life or health. Abortion advocates in both of these situations are telling us they want to perform post-viability abortions for eugenic reasons. Perhaps the child born prematurely after PPROM might have developmental delays. Perhaps the baby who suffered the stroke might have intellectual delays. Massachusetts politicians are telling us they want to allow doctors to end the lives of pain-capable children who can survive delivery whenever they suspect the child will be less than perfect. While these tragic circumstances cause us to grieve for the family so afflicted, the reality is that this law will allow the death of a baby capable of surviving for any reason or for no reason. No longer will grieving families be offered perinatal hospice, allowing them to hold, mourn, and say goodbye to a beloved child in dire circumstances, showing respect for that child's life. Now they will be pressured to circumvent that healthy grieving process through their child's direct, medically sanctioned death. Induced abortion is legally defined as having the intent that the baby not be born alive. Late-term abortion, after the baby can survive delivery, is never medically necessary. If a pregnancy emergency or a foreseeable future pregnancy emergency requires ending a pregnancy in a doctor's medical judgment, this action is allowed in all 50 states, despite the fear-mongering narrative promoted by those who would like to destroy pro-life laws. Most pregnancy emergencies occur in the second half of pregnancy, when delivery by induced labor or C-section will allow the baby to be born alive and cared for by our excellent neonatologist and NICU facilities. What actually happens during a late abortion? Beginning in the early second trimester, most surgical abortions are performed by dilation and evacuation, or D&E. At this point, the unborn child's bones have calcified, so he cannot be easily removed with suction. Thus, after cervical dilation, he is dismembered and removed in fragments with multiple passes of instruments, even though after approximately 12 to 15 weeks gestation, he is capable of feeling pain. However, as he grows even bigger, it becomes more difficult to dismember him, and the D&E procedure becomes much more dangerous. So labor induction is usually performed in the late second and third trimester. It is usually a multi-day procedure. Mifepristone or laminaria are given to soften and prepare the cervix for dilation. Because the intent of induced abortion is that the baby not be born alive, feticide should be performed to kill the baby before induction. This can be done through injection of digoxin or potassium chloride through the mother's abdomen or vagina into the amniotic sac or directly into the child's heart to induce a heart attack. Labor induction is then performed with misoprostol or Pitocin, but can be a prolonged process lasting days. However, one survey demonstrated that 70% of late-term abortionists do not always perform feticide, allowing the possibility that the child could be born alive and killed by active or passive euthanasia after birth. In one European study, more than half of babies being induced for fetal anomalies in the second trimester survived labor. Undoubtedly, Massachusetts has now opened the door to infanticide. This procedure can be very dangerous for a mother. Although there are many data deficiencies affecting abortion, because there is no national data obtained mandatorily, the CDC documents that a woman is 76 times as likely to die from complications following an abortion around viability compared to an abortion at 8 weeks. After 18 weeks, a woman is twice as likely to die from abortion than if she had a vaginal birth at term. Complications may occur due to uterine perforation or rupture, vascular injury, or retained fetal parts or placenta. Death may occur due to physical complications of sepsis, hemorrhage, thrombotic or amniotic fluid embolism, or anesthetic complications. Jennifer Morbelli was a young mother who died of complications in Maryland after a 33-week abortion of her child with Down syndrome. Tragically, her family was unable to reach Dr. Leroy Carhart, the abortionist, when they realized she was seriously ill, as he had left town. Deaths of despair may occur due to mental health complications, such as anxiety, depression, substance or alcohol abuse, and self-harm, leading to suicide, substance overdose, accidental deaths, or even intimate partner homicide, as relationships self-destruct in the aftermath of abortion. European studies document nearly 6 times the risk of a mental health death in the year following abortion compared to childbirth, and the risk is even higher in women who experience late or coerced abortions. This law removes the oversight and accountability of a hospital, which will cause the procedure to become even more dangerous. Lack of resuscitative equipment in an abortion clinic will limit the ability to respond quickly to an emergency. Abortion providers receive very little oversight from health departments and medical boards because of the political nature of the issue, as evidenced in the ghastly trial of Dr. Kermit Gosnell in Philadelphia. Hospitals abide by quality metrics, so they will not grant privileges to abortionists that have provided poor quality care elsewhere, or they will remove privileges from those providing poor care under their supervision. But similar accountability will not exist in abortion clinics. Make no mistake, these dangerous procedures will not be performed by the average OBGYN, 90% of whom will not even commit an early abortion, but by ideologues, often motivated by eugenic and population control concerns. Politicians and media have focused on tragic events such as severe fetal anomalies and obstetric emergencies in justifying this law, but the prior law already permitted such abortions. Ending the lives of these children after they can survive delivery is performed only for eugenic purposes, with the supposition that their care will be costly due to disabilities from congenital anomalies or severe prematurity. This will lead to an overall diminished value of all human life in Massachusetts, because after all, none of us are perfect. Make no mistakes, babies who may suffer future challenges are not the only one whose lives will end under this legislation. The CDC estimates that approximately 1% of abortions are performed in the second half of pregnancy, about 10,000 babies a year. That number will undoubtedly increase now that this opportunity to expand their business has been given to the 14 or so later abortion clinics in Massachusetts. A study by pro-abortion researchers found that women who obtain third trimester abortions generally do so because they have discovered new information. While this new information could include the late diagnosis of a fetal anomaly, prenatal testing usually detects significant fetal problems long before this time. For the other larger group of women obtaining late abortions, the new information could be late diagnosis of pregnancy or a change in the relationship, leading to the late abortion of a perfectly healthy baby. This study and many others have documented that the reasons given for late abortions are usually the same reasons given for earlier abortions, social or financial concerns, often compounded by coercion and indecision. Warren Hearn, an infamous late-term abortionist from Boulder, now deceased, in an interview with The Atlantic said, "The reasons don't really matter." And at least half of the late abortions he performed were on healthy women carrying healthy babies. My personal experience caring for women who obtained later abortions is that they generally did not want the abortion, but were forced into that decision by their partner or their parents when the pregnancy became obvious. 9 months is a long time for a woman who desires her baby to say no to coercive or abusive people in her life who want to make her make a different decision. Whose choice are we really prioritizing in this circumstance? Massachusetts has some of the best hospitals and medical care in the country, a generous social support network, and many pregnancy centers that exist to provide support for women in crisis, allowing them the resources they need to give birth to their children. It is unconscionable that this same state now allows the elective slaughter of innocent human life and disregards the safety of women undergoing these dangerous procedures. Thank you for your attention, and I'm very happy to answer questions today.
Well, thank you, Dr. Skop, for going over, a lot of the truth behind a lot of these lies that are being spread on social media about why we would need these kinds of laws still in Massachusetts, where we already, as you mentioned, had infanticide even before this. So the Q&A is open for anyone that would have some questions for Dr. Skop. And again, this webinar is not just to inform you and debunk the lies, but also call us all to action. Okay, we don't want this webinar just to be, you learn something perhaps new about, the abortion issue or whatever it might be, but we want to inspire all of you to get out there and make a difference. And that's why coming up, we're going to have Sam Mealy, Director of Massachusetts Family Action, talking about how we can make a difference to replace the legislators. I mentioned 119 representatives in the House voted for this absolutely horrific bill. So one of the questions I have for you, Dr. Skop, is, David Bereit was talking earlier. You might have been there. I don't know if you were at the ADF conference out in California recently, where, you and I were speaking before about this, where we thought when Roe was overturned, we'd have less abortion in America. And what we're seeing is just the opposite of that. And we're seeing this extreme. I mean, I know we threw it back to the states, right? So a state like Massachusetts, you mentioned 9 other states, I believe, have gone super extreme on this issue. But David Bereit mentioned that, this is going to take more than just politics. This is going to take a cultural shift on the abortion issue 50 plus years into this. You made a really interesting comment. If I don't want to misquote you, but I think you said over 90% of gynecologists would never perform an abortion. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think that was the statistic. Super encouraging. Maybe you can speak more to the majority of pro-life doctors out there, perhaps, that maybe we're not aware of. And then what do we do culturally to make a difference?
Now, those are such big questions. So regarding my profession, I think that if you ask their personal opinion, the majority of OBGYNs would say that they are pro-choice, but they will not, this is not what they say, but this is what they do. They will not dirty their hands with an abortion. And that's the reason that we're seeing such a proliferation of abortion drugs often totally medically unsupervised, being ordered online, being delivered in the mail. The women suffer through their own abortion without anyone to care for their complications other than the emergency room, where they're told to pretend they're having a miscarriage, not to let the doctors know what's really going on. So that's the reason for the mifepristone abortions, is because they couldn't find enough surgeons willing to do the abortion. And so OB-GYN as a profession has been able to take the easy way out. Women know that Planned Parenthood and other abortion clinics in their area do this, and so they don't come to their doctor to ask for that procedure. But at the same time, our professional organizations, as I mentioned, ACOG, which I have been a member for 30 years, they have never asked me my opinion on abortion, and yet the leadership, for very eugenic population control reasons, has acted as if they've spoken for all OB-GYNs in promoting abortion without any limitations. Unfortunately, I think medical schools and residency programs are prioritizing selecting pro-choice students. So young students that I mentor are having a harder and harder time becoming OB-GYNs because there is this pressure to bring in the pro-abortion OB-GYNs. The other thing that I wanted to say, going back to the bigger picture of what has happened since Dobbs. Of course, we all know the abortion industry's main instrument has always been judicial activacy. So we've seen judges striking down pro-life laws. Every state has had to defend their laws in court. And then, of course, we've seen horrendous ballot initiatives in which people of even conservative states like Ohio and Missouri have been misled and fooled into voting for abortion on demand until a viability. The thing that I think has been most harmful, however, is what we're talking about today. There has been the narrative that any abortion restrictions are going to harm women. So the American public have been given a false choice in that they're told that if women don't have the ability to abort their children, it's going to harm the women. And so sadly, many Americans have decided to err on the side of protecting the woman. The reality is the harm to women is so much greater than any of us know. You know, I mentioned that there really is no mandatory data collection. And so a lot more women are harmed than we're told because, of course, the studies that the media report are from the pro-abortion organizations. They tell about the abortions they've sold. Often they don't know the outcomes for the women because the women, when they've been harmed, they don't come back to the abortionist. Also the narrative that this is going to increase maternal mortality. Again, not true, because every state allows a doctor to intervene using his own judgment if he feels a pregnancy needs to end. And yet the fact that the pro-abortion medical organizations have not explained the new laws to the doctors in Texas and in other pro-life states has led to what you've often read, doctors being confused, doctors being fearful, and sometimes delaying treatment that they know they should give because they're afraid of the law. Not because the law would not allow them to treat the woman, but because they don't understand the law. So, you know, all of that to say, it's hearts and minds we have to win. We have to help people understand that not only does abortion end a human life, which you would presume we would care about, but often harms his mother. 96% of abortions are for social and financial reasons. We should be helping women, helping relationships, helping promote marriage, because the majority of abortions are in unmarried women, often when their partner has abandoned them. And if we address the real crises that are affecting women, then we would very likely cut down dramatically on the number of abortions that occur.
Yeah, and you raised a really good point, Dr. Skop. I was just listening to one of our partner organizations say that the best thing we can do to end abortion is to increase marriage. Um, and I don't know if you have those statistics offhand, or I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, I guess, but do you know what the difference is between married women and unmarried women when it comes to getting an abortion, generally speaking?
Well, I'm kind of a data nerd, so I actually do happen to know that the Guttmacher Institute, which maybe their data is better because they get information directly from the abortion industry and they survey women in abortion clinics back when it used to be clinic based. Of course, right now it's online and it's unregulated. But at that time, they told us that 86% of the women who chose abortions were unmarried. Also, I want to remark that Charlotte Lozier Institute performed a survey of women who had a prior history of abortions and documented that in about 60% of the cases, there was coercion involved. This was not a free decision by the women. And a similar number, approximately 60%, said they would have preferred to give birth if they'd only had more support, material, relationship, financial. So, really, what we're allowing in the country is women are being forced to make the choice they don't want to make, but it's because they don't know that there are other options available because abortion is promoted to them so strongly.
Yeah, and that's amazing. So you said 80, was it 86% you said
Yes.
of abortions are unmarried women. Is that right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, so, and I think the economic part of this is we're talking a little bit about too. And, I think about even, the expenses of, let's say you're a single mom and, you want your kid to have the best type of education or one of the things that I know that our sister organization, Massachusetts Family Institute, has been doing is starting church-based learning centers so we can offer education outside the public schools for as low as $100 a month for K-12 5-day a week education. We say every church should have a church-based learning center. Get them out of the government schools where they're going to get all the sex ed. I mean, what would you say too about the whole, we think that a lot of the abortion issue starts in the classroom, K-12 sex ed. I don't know how much you guys do Charlotte Lozier with that. We had 4,000 kids opt out of sex ed in Worcester alone a few years ago, which is almost 20% of the Worcester public schools. But maybe speak to, what we can do at the K-12 level even before this all happens.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Planned Parenthood is in so many of our school systems, even at the kindergarten level, desensitizing children to sexuality. And we've seen, of course, also desensitizing them to the difference between genders because they have been promoting the gender ideology at that very early age. And I believe it was Abby Johnson who said that Planned Parenthood's business model is that they will sell approximately 3 abortions to a woman during her reproductive lifespan. This is despite the fact that they promote themselves, hold themselves out as being pro contraception. But what we discover, of course, we know that no method of contraception is 100% foolproof, that only abstinence is the 100% way to avoid pregnancy. But even when they promote contraception, it's usually methods that are more likely to fail, like emergency contraception and condoms. It's rare to see them promoting something like an IUD that's more expensive but far more effective. So they're doing that. They're sexualizing children and knowing that they will sell abortions because of that early promotion. Um, so, it's good to let everybody be aware of what's happening in the schools. I agree totally what you were saying earlier in that we can't just be there for a woman in crisis when she makes the decision for life, because that decision is an ongoing decision. At some point during the pregnancy, especially now in Massachusetts, if she has a bad day, she may choose abortion. So she always has that option for abortion. So we've got to support her all the way through the pregnancy. Again, trying to prioritize healthy relationships, trying to prioritize material support. My sister organization at Charlotte Lozier is called Her Plan, Her Pregnancy and Life Assistance Network. And that's what they do, is try to find all the resources. Is it housing? Is it substance abuse? What is it a woman needs or is having troubles with that we need to provide to her so that she can continue her pregnancy and raise her child and have, a healthy, happy child? So we have a lot of work to do. It's not easy, but we have no choice. This is all that we can do, is just to continue to be there, especially for you guys in Massachusetts, when a woman on a bad day everything that you've done could be lost.
Yeah, why don't you repeat that ministry there that you're referring to, the sister organization to help women with the Susan B. Anthony?
Sure, it's called Her Plan, Her Pregnancy and Life Assistance Network. So if you're working with a woman and she needs something that you don't know how to provide, you can go there, you can find pro-life organizations that are going to offer that service. So they vet everybody so that you don't refer a woman, for example, to housing and they say, oh, you should get an abortion and try to undo all of your work. So everybody there is able to offer the support that's needed, but they also value that human life.
Yeah, and I also want to mention too, there's a wonderful network of pregnancy resource centers here in Massachusetts. So those of you viewing, support your local pregnancy resource center, go volunteer, get to know who's leading it, who's a part of it. I know our sister organization, Massachusetts Family Institute, the law center there is working on 2 lawsuits right now regarding reproductive equity now, and the governor of Massachusetts who have been smearing pregnancy resource center. So it's not just that they're in our schools teaching sex ed, that they have these egregious laws, but now they want to fine and smear pregnancy resource centers as well. I mean, it's just beyond the pale. And I think if I'm not mistaken, pregnancy resource centers outnumber Planned Parenthood clinics 2 to 1 or even 3 to 1 here in the Bay State. So there's a lot of resources out there, and the cultural element is going to be the long-term solution here. But we are talking about the political strategies as well. We're going to get into that soon here. I just want to get to a quick comment here for you, a quick question for you from one of the viewers, Dr. Skop. Says, hello, thank you for the info being provided in the webinar. If people are pressuring a woman to get an abortion with a healthy baby, would the professional, and I think we should put professional in quotes here, doing the procedure not have to prove some kind of medical necessity first?
No, that's what this new law is allowing. So it's just
Right.
saying in the professional's judgment, and there is like full stop. Like if his judgment as a eugenicist is that this young, poor minority woman would be better off without a baby, that's all that's needed. And I don't think that it's required that any reason be documented. So again, there's no oversight, right? Nobody's looking at these abortion clinic charts to determine, is it reasonable that they're aborting these babies? So the professional who, as I noted, is not a normal OB-GYN. This is an ideologue. This is an abortionist who is not only willing to end unborn life, he's willing to end unborn life at very, very late gestational ages when he knows the child can survive delivery. So this is a very special category of, quote, professional. These are professional assassins.
Yeah. I by definition, what else can you define them as? So keep your questions coming if you have any on the Q&A part of this. And if Dr. Skop can stick around for a little bit, in case we get some more questions coming in, that would be great. Can you stick around for a little bit here, Dr. Skop?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, we so appreciate your time. We so appreciate Charlotte Lozier, and we're gonna switch gears a little bit here and bring in Sam Mealy, the director of our Massachusetts Family Action. This is a C4 organization dedicated to not only social welfare here in Massachusetts, but also identifying, and perhaps on this call, identifying some of you to get more involved politically. Go knock on doors, go run for office. There's still time to be a write-in candidate here in Massachusetts. And there's a lot of very winnable districts here in Massachusetts where we can make a difference, to have people in places of influence that are going to say no to these kinds of bills. We can get to that point here in Massachusetts. So I'm going to put it over here to Sam, young man, recently married, young daughter. He and his wife, Elizabeth. It's been great to have them join our staff, and I'll let Sam talk more about what he's doing and his team at Massachusetts Family Action.
Sounds good. Mike, can you hear me all right?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Well, hello everybody. It's wonderful to be here. I'm the director of Massachusetts Family Action. We are MFA is leading the charge as the partner organization to Mass Family Institute to defend life. The way I like to say it is that Mass Family Institute, as the 501c3, they educate, they provide resources, but at MFA, Mass Family Action, we're advancing. We are pushing the Overton window further to the right on the pro-life issue, specifically pro-family issues. But today we're highlighting the life issue. And in light of this just absolutely horrific and egregious abortion bill, Massachusetts Family Action is doubling down in its resolve and in its mission to defend life at every stage from the womb to the tomb. That's why on our Take Action page on the MFA website, you can reach out to your legislators. Obviously, it is the end of the legislative session, but during the legislative session, we fought to protect life against this egregious abortion bill. We were obviously messaging heavily on this. There was a physician-assisted suicide bill we were messaging heavily against as well. And we are here to identify, train activists and candidates and people who are interested in taking action. So we provide trainings. I'll just talk a little bit about what MFA does and a way you can get involved. If this life issue if the way Massachusetts is currently attacking life inspires you, or maybe there's a little bit of frustration. I hope there should be righteous anger. I know there is in me that boils up when we see what we're doing to the most vulnerable in our society. So the ways you can get involved at Mass Family Action, you can become an activist. I believe the link was dropped into the chat, or it was sent, I believe, or you can just go to mafamilyaction.org, mafamilyaction.org. You can also text the keyword MFA, those three letters, to 87891. That is MFA to 87891. You'll get an automatic text reply with different links to our website. To become an activist, we are building the largest activist network in Massachusetts on the right. We are building the machine of the right. If you ever notice how, if somebody who is more liberal, vacates office, it feels like in an instant the liberal coalition has a replacement. They've got the signs. It feels coordinated. Because it is. And right now we don't have that in the pro-life movement in Massachusetts. And Mass Family Action, we are bringing the remedy. There's a gap in the market and we're going to fill it, but we absolutely need your help. So go to that page, go to mafamilyaction.org, click on the tab that says Become an Activist, fill out that form. I'll be in touch with you. One of our team members will be in touch with you on ways you can get involved. And what an MFA activist does specifically, we have opportunities to door knock in support of pro-life candidates. For example, we are supporting John Gasky for state representative, who is a wonderful pro-life candidate, who is an incumbent, and we are supporting him, not in coordination with the campaign, obviously, but our own effort to ensure that an advocate for life stays in the state house. And I could go on and on for examples like that. But wherever you are around the state, there are opportunities to get involved, and not just in particularly candidate, and not just in support of candidates. We'll be offering nonpartisan opportunities for activists. If you want to galvanize people in your community to go out and talk about the life issue, to register voters, to really become to build an action group in your community that advocates for pro-family principles, because everything starts bottom up. The issue, we were talking about the abortion issue earlier, and it really, in a lot of ways, I believe, 90% get an abortion because of financial difficulties. I could have had that. I might have misheard that. But in a large part, financial burdens really contribute to women feeling like they just can't have a child. Obviously, there are other factors as well. But if we can remind women on a local level, and we can meet their needs on a local level, and elect people that understand how to speak to women when they're actually running for office, and not just make them feel like, oh, I'm being I'm being hated upon, people want to control my bodies. That is not the motivation of MFA, as much as the left might want to characterize us like that. However, we truly believe that everything starts at the local level. And if we build that bottom up, starting action groups, I envision in a few years from now, we have over 1,000 activists across Massachusetts, just like you, pro-family leaders in your communities, that you get inspired, you teach other people what does it mean to advocate for life, to door knock, to maybe run for school committee or select board or things like that. And then one day it goes to state rep, then state senate, and one day the governor, whatever, senator. It all builds up from the grassroots, and the left feels organized, and we have to organize because they're organized. If we want to win, we have to organize. We'll also have opportunities. I'm leading trainings all over the state constantly. I've done them in Danvers to Hyannis on the Cape, to out west in your Springfield. So if you are interested in learning what does it actually take to run for office, what are the a Democrat or a Republican could take this training, a liberal, conservative. This is just a mechanics-based how to run for office, the best methods for running for office. What does it mean to be a volunteer on a campaign if maybe you are just not about running, but if you want to help other people, how to do that in an objective way, that in a nonpartisan way from the training's perspective. We will come to you if you reach out and be like, hey, I've got 10 people, we want to learn how to do this. And we're like, hey, I will, for free, we'll come to you. We will teach you all of these things. We've got wonderful trainings. It's like 2 to 3 hour trainings that we offer totally free. And we will teach you how to run for office. We'll teach you how to be a great volunteer. And we're developing other trainings as well that will be coming down the pipeline. And so stay tuned on our website. Make sure to go to our website, put in your information, on your email information, become an activist. Just make sure we have your information to some extent so that when a training gets scheduled, or you are the first to know. Now, again, if you want to do a training, just reach out to me directly. You can do that on the contact form on our website and say, hey, I've got 10 people, let's do a training, and we'll train you. We've got awesome trainings that I think rival a lot of other organizations, and we're really excited. And we are the action apparatus. Mass Family Institute will inspire you. Mass Family Institute will provide you with the robust resources, and Massachusetts Family Action will help you take those resources and actually go save Massachusetts. We will help you do that because that's our mission. And if you buy into that mission, we want you to join us.
Yeah, and I just got a text from a pastor in Eastern Massachusetts saying, I'm interested in learning more about what the young man is saying. I'm going to sign up to learn more, but I don't do door knocking. Well, you can learn.
You can learn. And also, there's a lot of people. This is one thing, really quick remark. Most people who pro-life, in other parts of the state, maybe they're battleground states across the country. It's purple state. It is kind of baked into the culture in the pro-life community on the right in these states, in these battleground states. If you want to be a part of it, there's an expectation to put the work in. Now, not everybody's cut out for door knocking. It is, sometimes it's just whatever, for whatever the case, maybe you're immobile or you just don't have the stamina for whatever. That's totally fine. We also have opportunities for phone calling actually in support of these candidates, which you can do any day of the week from the comfort of your home. So that's also a great option if you can't door knock for some reason. However, I would say we are building the machine of the right here in Massachusetts. We are building a culture of activism. And if there's one thing that I've learned, I'm 21 years old, I'm very new to this. If there's one thing, I grew up very inspired by Charlie Kirk. And if there's one thing I learned from Charlie that I think we can all learn is that if something feels uncomfortable, you have to step back and ask yourself, why do I feel uncomfortable about doing this thing? Is it because it's a bad thing to do? Well, in that case, don't do it. Or is it because it's a good thing to do and therefore it feels hard to do it? So if you feel that anxiety, I do every single time I go out door knocking, it's very uncomfortable, even for me who's done it a lot. You put that effort forward and because it's still the right thing to do. And just to highlight that, I want to take a step back, talk a little bit about what we've already done, because maybe you're like, okay, you're talking in theoretical. What has MFA actually done? This spring, on a local level, we identified 46 school committee candidates and select board candidates across Massachusetts. These are pro-family conservative candidates we identified. And we did very simple get out the vote operations for these candidates. Very simple. No door knocking. It was just text basically. And 28 of these candidates won. 28 out of 46. It's a 61% win rate for conservatives in Massachusetts. 61% win rate for conservatives in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
unheard of.
And I just learned today, Sam, encourage you with this and all of our viewers. You know, there's this young father out in Western Mass, engineer, never really thought about running for office. And it was when he saw Maura Healey and all these people clapping and cheering this egregious abortion bill, he said, "That's it. You know, I'm in. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way. And I want to share that story with all of you guys listening. And if you share this recording with people, inspire them that, you know, there are very winnable districts here in Massachusetts. And we just got to, you know, so much of the reason that we don't win as conservatives here in Massachusetts because we don't run. That's just the truth. That's just the truth of it.
If I may.
And so, yeah, go ahead.
If I may, this is data coming directly from Brad Wyatt, who is the one of the Republican National Committeemen for Massachusetts. He says that Massachusetts is the least competitive state when it comes to elections. So, for example, we have 160 state representatives in Massachusetts. Only 25 of them are Republicans. And this year, as of who is on the ballot, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it's in the high 30s of mid to high 30s of Republicans who are actually on the ballot to oppose Democrats. And that just shows you the imbalance of power in the state. The one party system is broken and it's not working. And it's clear. And this is kind of what I say is that Massachusetts is the petri dish for Democratic insanity, for liberal insanity. They want to try out, it's like, oh, Massachusetts is so liberal. We could literally do anything and we could get it signed by the governor because it's just so liberal. The conservatives have no political power. The liberals have a supermajority. So let's just try it. And if we like it here, then we'll export it to other states in the country. And it's incumbent on us to ensure that the conservatives, pro-family, pro-life conservatives, have a fighting chance in this state.
Well, just to remind people that are listening, if you want more information on MFA, Massachusetts Family Action, text MFA. Text the word MFA to 87891. How you do that is just like sending a regular text, but the number is 87891. The message is MFA. Then you push send, and you'll get a link to get in touch with Sam. So excited, Sam, about what you're doing. I will say this, a recent super PAC just launched as well here in Massachusetts called Better Future for Massachusetts, led by, get this, guys, 2 pastors, okay? Would you ever thought that would happen in Massachusetts, a super PAC being led by 2 pastors? So be encouraged by that as well. Want to be sensitive, obviously, to Dr. Skop's time as well. You guys had some great questions and great interaction with Dr. Skop today. And Dr. Skop, if you want to say any closing remarks, and then Sam, I'll give you the chance as well. So Dr. Skop, go ahead.
Well, I just thank everybody for your attention. I think I said hopefully everything that I wanted to say, but I would encourage you to come to the lozierinstitute.org website, because you're guaranteed to learn some things that you can share with your friends. Even if your friends are pro-life, I've discovered a lot of pro-life people don't really understand what's going on. They're not aware that even in a state like Massachusetts, unsupervised abortion drugs are everywhere and they are harming women. We just need to empower ourselves, I think, to talk to others and to start winning hearts and minds on this conversation. So thank you.
Absolutely, Dr. Skop. And again, get in touch with the Charlotte Lozier Institute. They're doing incredible work. And Dr. Skop, before we leave to just, again, reiterate the other ministry with the Susan B. Anthony again, one more time.
Yes, they're called Her Plan. Plan stands for Pregnancy and Life Assistance Network. I believe that their website is herplan.org.
Herplan.org. Okay, great. Perfect. Well, we want to thank you for debunking a lot of the lies. You guys can also go on our website, you can go to mafamily.org, and on the Take Action page, you can get some of the talking points on this egregious bill. So again, thank you, Dr. Skop, for joining us today. And we're going to bring back Sam Mealy to give us some final comments on MFA.
Yeah, if you want to inspire your community, if you want to build things that last, if you want to lead your community, join MFA. We are building an institution that will outlast me, that will outlast Mike, that will outlast all of us. We are building an institution that will create a culture of life of pro-family conservative principles that will yield dividends for Massachusetts families for decades to come. So be a part of the movement. You won't want to miss it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, very much. This was an honor to be here. And Mike, thank you for emceeing this. Did a wonderful job.
Thank you. Well, I'll pay you later. So thanks, guys, for joining. And also, look, if you want to donate to Massachusetts Family Action, you can go on the mafamilyaction.org website, hit the donate button, and be a part of what we're doing. Get out there, door knocking. Join us for the multiple things that MFA does. So I'm Michael King, president of Massachusetts Family Action, president of Massachusetts Family Institute. I want to thank you on behalf of Dr. Skop and Sam Mealy for joining us today for this very important discussion. And hopefully we will see you in the future as we continue to fight for life here in the Commonwealth. This is recorded and it will get out to you as well if you've signed up for, if you've registered with us, it'll get out by email as well. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon.